Okay, so the next part is we are doing graphing. So this graphing part, right, you need to take note because in set 3, you will need all these notes again. So for now, let's go on to the basics first. So the basics is, if you notice, let's do a recap. You all remember for linear, we learned y equal to mx plus c in set 1, correct? So y equal to mx plus c will give you a line or a curve.
Line.
Yes, very good. It's a line. So always take note. If it is a line, can you see the x? What's the power of x?
1.
1 will give you a line. Over here, what's the highest power of x?
2.
2, right? So do you think it will be a line? It will give you a curve. And this is what we are learning in set 2. More detail into the curve. Because the highest degree is a 2. Now, so do you remember? Let's go back to recap again in set 1. Anybody remember what is this m or not? The coefficient of x. Yes. So the coefficient of x tells you the gradient. Now, how many different lines will you have? No? How many different lines do you have? How many different lines do you have? So you say there are 4 different lines. How does the 4 different lines look like? Like what kind of lines?
Straight line.
Okay, what kind of straight line? Of course, they're all straight lines, right? If they are curvy line, they're called curve already. So what kind of 4 different lines do we have? So you say that the first is a horizontal line. Okay. What else?
Vertical line.
Okay, we have a vertical line also. Horizontal line, vertical line, any more?
Down slope diagonal.
Down slope line. So this and up slope line. So these are called diagonal lines. So we had diagonal lines, vertical lines, and horizontal lines. And you all remember I teach you all the phase, positive, negative. What does this U stand for? The nose, U. What does the U stand for? What does the U stand for? Very good. So the U stands for undefined. Then what about these 2 dimples? What do they stand for? What about the 2 dimples? What do they stand for? So the 2 dimples stand for 0. So this is what kind of gradient, guys? This is a what kind of gradient?
Positive.
Positive gradient. What kind of gradient is this?
Negative.
Negative gradient. What kind of gradient is this?
Vertical.
Huh? That's what kind of line is it? But what, not what kind of gradient is it? What kind of gradient is this?
0.
No, what kind of gradient is this? What kind of gradient is this? We just went through just now. What kind of gradient is this? Yes, it's an undefined gradient. Then what kind of gradient is this? What kind of gradient is this? What kind of gradient is this? Huh? If this is undefined, how can this also be undefined? Yes, 0 gradient. So remember diagonal. Diagonal, what is the equation format that we learn for diagonal line? What's the equation format that we learn for diagonal line? The equation format that we learn for diagonal lines. Yes. What's the equation that we learn for vertical lines? What? No. Vertical line. What is the equation format for a vertical line? Yeah. X equal to something. And this something is a what? What is this something? No, doesn't mean it's always a negative number. But this something is a it's a, you don't really call it a number, we call it a what kind of term? Yes. The constant term. Next, what about a horizontal line? What is the equation format for a horizontal line? What's the equation format for a horizontal line? Y equal to something, and that something is also a constant term. Okay, so these are the 4 different lines. You need to know the gradient, you need to know the equation format and memorize them, because this will always be tested in Set 1, Set 2, Set 3, and Set 4. It will come back every year. It's very important. But now we do an add-on. So what is the add-on? Good news is for line, you need to learn 4 lines. But curve, you only need to learn there are 2 kinds of curve. So please remember, it's either called a U-shaped curve or an N-shaped curve. So now let's do the different definition of U-shape and N-shape and how to identify them. So imagine now, guys, U-shape, right? U-shape, do you think this will be a minimum point or maximum point? Do you think this point here will be a minimum or maximum if it's a U-shape? Minimum point. What about an N-shape? Will it give you a minimum or maximum point? Maximum point, huh? So right now, let's learn how to identify them. So this A is actually called the coefficient of x squared. Okay? The coefficient of x squared, there are 2 types also. Now, guys, imagine if you are a happy person tends to be more positive or negative? A happy person tends to be more positive, right? Meaning, if they try to tell you that if this A, if it's a positive value, it means that it's a U-shaped curve. If this A right here is a negative value means that it is a N-shaped curve. And that is the first thing you must always identify. That is the shape of the curve. So this coefficient of x squared, why is it so important? Because it tells you the shape of the curve. It tells you the shape of the curve, whether it's going to be a U shape or a N shape. Now, after we identify the shape of the curve, next we need to learn is the intercepts. So right now, what are the intercepts you need to know? You need to know that if let's say you want to find the x-intercept, means you need to sub y equal to 0. So everybody pens down, I need you to pay attention. They have many different graphs. Okay, we have like this kind of graph. We can have like this kind of graph. We even have one that is floating one. Can you see it doesn't cut the x-axis? Then the other one is like that. Below, doesn't cut the x-axis also. So right now, in order to identify the x-intercept, this is to do the mathematical way. The mathematical way is sub y equal to 0. But where is this y equal to 0? Sub. So where is this x-intercept? This x-intercept means here. Can you see this x-intercept, x-intercept? X-intercept means it cuts the y-axis. Cuts the y-axis. Yeah. So it cuts the x-axis. So now, can you see here are all the x-axis? Then what about here? Does this graph cut the x-axis? Does this graph cut the x-axis? So there's no way we need to dot it. Okay. Next is the y-intercept. So y-intercept means you sub x equal to 0 into where? Into the equation. So this one cuts the y-axis. Y-intercept means it cuts the y-axis, guys. Y-axis, huh? So guys, listen carefully. Listen. Do you notice x-axis, usually it will be like 2. Sometimes it can be 1. Sometimes it can be 0 answer. Understand? But y-axis only got one answer. One answer. One answer. One answer. Got it now? Now you all can make your notes. Color code red with red, blue with blue, and write down everything that I've just written. Okay, so just now I was talking about the cut the x-axis. There are 3 scenarios, okay, because this is always the x value. Now, I want to go more in depth in the cutting the x-axis. There is 3 scenarios it can be. Number 1, the usual way. Okay. So what does that mean? Can you see this cut the x-axis at 2 points? Here only 1 point, and here nothing. So this is cuts the x-axis. 2 points means 2 answers. 2 answers means 2 solutions. So this one point means how many answers?
1 answer.
1 answer. And here means no answers. So no answers means, right, it doesn't. No answer means if let's say x equal to no solution, or in your calculator you get math error, means there's no answer. That means that it doesn't cut the x-axis. Okay, so you need to take note. No answer means x equal math error. Math error means it doesn't cut the x-axis. Okay, I'm going to continue with this about the line of symmetry. So the line of symmetry, please take note that it occurs at the turning point. And turning point, there are 2 kinds of turning point. Guys, here, very important. The turning point is maximum and minimum point. It's called the turning point. PT means turning point. So of course at the turning point. Now, how to find the line of symmetry? Please take note, is by taking the average of the x-intercepts. The average of the x-intercepts. Okay? So it occurs at a turning point, and it's by taking the average of the x-intercepts. So what do you mean by taking the average of x-intercept? For example, here, can you see here, this person is called -2, and this person is called 5. So you all know how to find average, right? How to find average, everybody? What do we have to do?
Total divided by 2.
Yeah, how? What's the calculation? So what do we do? I already give you one of the x-intercept is -2, the other is 5. So what do we do?
3 3 divided by 2.
How you get 3?
Negative 2
Okay, everybody put your calculator. Negative 2 followed by
plus 5
plus 5. Yes. And then after that?
divided by 2.
Yes, divide by 2. So the answer is 3 over 2. So where does it occur? Can you see this cross here? This is where the turning point is. It must be in dotted line. And then you must write down x is equal to 3 over 2. X is equal to 3 over 2. Okay? So always take note, guys. Can you see this line of symmetry here? X equal to something. You always start with x, not y. It's always x equal to something. And this something is calculated by using the average of the x-intercept. Another thing you need to take note of is the line of symmetry must be in dotted line. The x of symmetry is the dotted line. So over here, guys, also same color. Can you see I use pink? You can color code pink. You see this x here? This is a turning point. Dot, 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 dot. Can you see this cross here? Dot, 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 dot. Can you see here? The cross here? Dot, 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 dot. Okay? So all the dotted line is the line of symmetry. All the dotted line is the line of symmetry. So do you all add in all the same color coding, pink with pink? So all the pink is the everything that got to do with the line of symmetry. Once you're done, put down your pen, then I know that I can move on. So the last part is maximum or minimum point. So maximum or minimum point is the same thing. It's called the turning point. That I just went through just now. So maximum point, you know, right? Is what shape to give you maximum point? Maximum point means give you what? N shape. So N shape can be like that. N shape can also be like that. And N shape can also be like that. U shape. So this is maximum point. Minimum point will be U shape. U shape can be like this. U shape can be like this. Must touch at only one point, and U shape can be never touch at all. So maximum point means here, here, here. Minimum point means here, here, here. So same thing just now, I use red color for x-intercept. Here got 2 x-intercept. Here got 1 x-intercept. Here got no x-intercept. Here got 2 x-intercept. Here got 1 x-intercept. Here got no x-intercept. So these are the 6 different kind of variations that you can have for a turning point as a G. I forget a G. These are the 6 different kind of situations. Different scenarios, I mean. Maximum and minimum point. Now, how to find the maximum and minimum point? So where do you think the maximum and minimum point always lie in? Remember just now I teach you? What's the previous concept that I taught you guys? It's called the what? The previous concept that I teach you guys just now. What did I teach you all just now? Less than 5 minutes ago. So how to find the line of symmetry again?
Find the average of x-intercept.
So the line of symmetry is average of x-intercept. That's what we learned just now. So what do you notice where the turning point is? What do you notice where the turning point is?
The maximum point.
That is called turning point. So where do you think where the turning point is? So where does the turning point occurs? Where does it occurs? Where does the turning point occurs? Yes, line of symmetry. And that is the relationship. You need to make it out of. turning point is always at the line of symmetry. And another thing you need to take note of, because it's a point. Point means it must always be what kind of format? Anybody remember? If it's a point, what kind of format must it be in? This one everybody can answer. If it's a point, means what kind of format is it in? It's a point. What kind of format is it in? So it's a coordinate format. And how does a coordinate format look like? How does a coordinate format look like?
Is it x equal to something, then comma y was something?
That's answer format, not coordinate format.
X comma y.
Yes, but it's not just x comma y. Something is missing.
Okay.
Yes, this is called a coordinate format. Something that you all learned in set 1 in linear graphs. And that's all for this whole thing that you need to digest. Because next lesson, there will be a test.